Hello and welcome to TFT Worlds, Day 1, Game number 3. Enjoy.
Is bad. One of the 4 Argentinian players in this tournament, but unfortunately hasn't had a great start just yet. Only 7 points to his name, which actually we're 2 rounds in, and I did my math horribly. That's a pretty good start.
That's not bad. I mean, one thing to know about
Halfway
Lifespan's
point.
start here is that he currently has 2 crit atomizations, so that's a Thieves Gauntlet as a start, but however, that doesn't give good direction. I mean, Thieves Gauntlet, good item, it gives you good stats, but it's not something that can help you build into a full composition. So we'll have to see exactly what Lifespan is going to do with this start, and how far he can make with it.
And we are letting you guys know that it's Duelist Dexterity and Evoker Nomsy in this game. So we've got our variable factors locked down to tide us forward.
Yeah, Namzi is just not going to show up. It's just not, it's just not something that's going to happen in this game. I'm going to tell you guys right off the rip. Namzi Evoker has, as much as I have love for our dragony girl, that's not happening.
I mean, there was a research on the past, like 100, like a tournament, like a games per every region, and zero Namzi. Zero Namzi occurrences, unfortunately.
All right, we got our augments though. We will not be taking Prismatic as we have been from the beginning of day. We're going to roll things out nice and slow, some silvers to ease us into Game 3.
I mean, this game is actually much more stable but boring. Like, if it's Prismatic, then things can get exciting for us to watch. But since it's a silver start, players are actually going to go for more like a safe choices. Nothing's going to go too insane. So actually, these are the type of lobbies where we might be able to see more like 2 and 3 cost, like carries go for.
So as we were discussing before, of course, we talked a little bit about the rerolls coming in. So what kind of comps do you guys like when the augments aren't necessarily taking over the game and it's just down to raw comp power?
Well, I think one of the things you can do there, well, obviously you can't do the Yone. You really need that range increasing augment from scoped weapons 1 or 2. But you can go a bunch of other reroll compositions. Astrals are going to be good. That's good in both lobbies because of the lost streak aspect. But those 2-star reroll compositions do well if you have time to get that 3-star. If you're in a hyper-fast lobby and you get denied the chance to roll, you're out.
I mean, if you look at like Lifespan's composition right now, he currently picked Preparation into not leveling, so he's not going to go strong early. He's going to give up stage 2, and then once he stays like a 3-ish, he's probably going to start rolling for like a either 1-cost 3-star or maybe a 2-cost 2-star.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a perfect opener there for Kaisa reroll. He's already got half Lagoon, half the Shimmer Scales. We'll see if he picks up the Wukong to go for a little extra board strength. Meantime, swapping over to our local here EMEA representative in Noel.
Yeah, Noel, of course, doing incredibly well in the EMEA regional finals. Interesting choice here. We've got the Mystic coming in. Of course, a really, really powerful effect to have the Mystic in this early on. And we've also got our friend Zeke's, who of course we saw a lot of in the previous setup.
I mean, this is just basically Noel saying, I am Seraphine Graves, right? Nobody else touch. Look at my augment. Look at my itemizations. I'm the one that's going to get Graves. I'm going to go for this strong powerhouse composition. I already have Zeri. I already have Rakan. I have a Vladimir 2-star to save HP with as well, too. So I'm thinking that Noel is in a really good spot to win, at least until stage 4-5.
Of course, once we got those Seraphine shields coming in, reinforced by the Mystic, it's going to make life a lot harder for those AP Dragon Balls we know are coming.
I really actually like seeing this Swift Shock Heart coming out from Fly. It's not going to probably go into that Yone composition. He's leaving that angle open. We've seen Kutza in one of the regional finals just pivoting into a Yone composition 3-2. So we know that's a viable strategy. But if you want to go for a Xayah carry, she's kind of weak without additional augments. That extra Swift Shot does a lot for her damage, so he's got that angle open to him, and it feels like a very early commit.
I'm really curious about what currently the 8th and the 7th place players are doing. I do really want to look at My Paradise, see exactly what the situation is. All right. Currently, My Paradise is going for what?
Yes, there we go. There we go.
Apologies, I thought that was the wrong board. Currently, both 8th and 7th place players are going for an Astral start. So they're going for Astrals to get that extra economy, to get that extra bonus. But what will they build from this point on?
Well, I mean, we've got a pretty solid setup so far. We've got a lot of the 2-stars in there and a very solid front line indeed. Up against Kizzy, we'll see how they end up doing. We have got an Archangels building on the back line for our Chinese player, so they will have that inevitability on the round.
I mean, what I'm really curious is that he's got a natural start, but he's building into Zax. He has these Kaisas on his inventories? Does he just want to throw away this Astral beginning and go for like Lagoons? But I feel like that's a bit inefficient in gold usages, right? Because you either go for the reason why you go for Astrals or Lagoons is to get the economy in the first place. But if he goes it like this, then he can't really get good economy and he can't really get good like a HP management, right? So I am quite curious about these choices.
We'll see what he does going into Carousel, of course. He's still got that open bow. He's got the Archangels complete. To me, it's reading more of a Deja angle, but we'll wait until the last Carousel there as My Paradise picks up a rod and Fly picks up a belt for their compositions.
I mean,
we'll just take a quick moment while we've got the chance just to go through our current status of the lobby. We have got 3 players who are undefeated coming out of Carousel: Tex, Kelly, and Noel. Yeah. So that's a pretty high volatility situation going to the second half of Stage 2.
Yeah, if that HP gap gets bigger, it's just very fast for those bottom players to head out. And then it's about who can finish with the highest cap board. So if you're going for a Kaisa reroll, for example, just theoretically, maybe not the game to do it.
Currently, we're looking at Tex Summers' board at the moment. He currently has a rapid fire cannons on Varus, and he does have a very base like a Bruiser Swift Shot composition. Of course, Bruiser Swift Shot is a very strong composition for the mid game, but I am very curious about that rapid fire cannons choice because I feel like he could have made a Runehands if he just waited a bit more longer. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, it's interesting. Of course, we've definitely been seeing that much more from the Yone side of things, but it is surely a huge amount of raw attack speed right now. Of course, they are protecting a win streak, so I think they're going to have to put in everything they have to make sure that stays up until Krugs.
You can see him on the camera just vibing before this, dancing on cam. Always loves to see our players having a good time. His board, little less so, but they're hanging in there. They got to the back line. They worked it out.
I mean, the reason why he could have made like a rapid fire cannons is that he's currently on a full win streak, right? So maybe that one item was decisive in order to maintain his win streak so that he maintains his advantage so that he can get at least one more higher placement. But I am very afraid to see exactly what this deck is going to build into.
All right, we'll keep an eye on them so far. It's worth noting again, we had the 3 players who were on the win streak from before. Now it's down to 2, Tex and Noel. Maybe they'll even get a chance to face each other in this last round. We shall see if it does.
How does he already have a Graves?
How is he already at level 6?
It's 2-6!
Noel, what are you up to? What shenanigans are afoot?
Oh, God.
I think we gotta check this one.
Of course, Noel with a 2nd and 3rd place come in. Still a very, very strong performance from them. They will not be win streak versus win streak, though, heading into Stage 3.
I mean, I am very curious that currently Noel is actually offered a chance to add a Lee Sin that is actually very free, like a Tempest, and very good CC value. But he actually chooses not to go for that and maintains a multiple Cannoneer setup for more like a burst damage instead. This is probably because he thinks that he has enough frontline that if he has just more damage, he will be able to maintain a win. But I don't know if that was the correct choice behind right there.
Well, have had it confirmed. It was 2-6. They found that Graves to add to the competition. So just easy things. MEA players do all this all the time, don't worry.
Yeah, of course. It's all skill at that point. And I think it's really cool for Noel. And as much as I freaked out over it, genuinely, this early at Graves 1 without the rest of the core of the composition is not as strong as you'd like. You need that healing, you need defensive items.
I mean, it is devastating for Noel because he did just invest around 16 extra gold. He could be at 30 interest gold, which is really not that bad if you lose your streak. I'm pretty sure he himself didn't expect it either because he thought he was very strong. I thought he was very strong. Like, that Grave showed up really, really fast. So right now we're going to see into creeps and check exactly what items we get for the future.
So as we move, we are looking to try and bring that Graves online really and fully to make use of that Ziggs and make a really strong competition. Again, Tex Summers remains undefeated after, of course, the last round. Tex making the big climb. They went last in the first game and then first in their second game. So they're definitely a player of variable proportions.
Definitely on the up. You know, you can't go much higher in the graph. You kind of have a flat line from there, but it's a good start to be sure.
Let's invest in some stocks here.
And it's just as simple as finding a Seraphine on 3-1 as well.
I mean, I'm currently really enjoying Noel's spot. He was offered his composition really fast, so he has good direction, and he's also offered a chance to make time results if he wants to on the Graves to maintain his like a setup, or he can just go for like Edge of Night with the component later. Oh, is this another Shimmer Scale Golden Panther lobby?
I told you! It happened, the prophecy! It's all gold monsters as far as the eye can see.
Oh, man. Japan's actually going to perform really, really well in the serve this game, number 3.
We do see now what Fly was working towards, has that Olaf in the front line. Terrifying possibility of still going for Yone as the augment round is coming up. But like you said, Peter, coming into this one, the Gunblade plus the Goldmancer Staff on Holy, great start for something like a Deja pivot in the mid-game.
I do, of course, remember that Holy is going to be the top performing player, I believe, in the entire lobby coming in. So definitely the player to beat. Again, you really want to, to be going after these big name players right now to give yourself a chance of making day 3 at all.
62 HP, so they're going after him pretty hard, I'd say.
I mean, right now, Holly really needs to get some kills on these Gold Masters because now that I recheck his situation, his board isn't really that strong, and his Dragon Mancy's not on a real carry, so he might not be in a good situation. Let's check out the augments for all the players then.
I do notice we had a pay-to-win sneaky in there as well, so maybe we'll see that coming through. But yes, as we look across the board, we can see, of course, our crop of more generic augments and the more specific ones. Maybe, what do you guys feel? Where are you kind of leaning on the kind of spectrum of you want to have like really pointed augments versus really generically strong augments?
I mean, usually in high-tier lobbies, you do want to go for combat augments, so you're strong during the mid-game phase. The mid-game phase is actually the core difference, whether you have like a combat augments or not, whether you can win or not, really depends on these augments. So I do really hope that players actually pick more aggressive choices. Yes?
There's going to be the pay-to-win pickup as well. We've seen this coming out a little bit more frequently in competitive during the back end of this patch. Previously considered a fairly bad augment, still people's opinions on it aren't super high, but we're seeing it find a lot of success even in a previous game. We saw Double go for it and find a lot of success. Now that it only costs 2 gold to get that massive boost instead of needing to level up, that means it also lasts you even while you're at level 9.
Matt, I've got a hot take here. I think that will shock the world really to hear.
I'm ready.
Pay to win is in fact the augment of the tournament. Do you know how I know that?
How?
Because Dragonlance Championship, TLC. I'm just saying.
He's cracked
I'm
the
just
code.
saying. I've seen through the matrix. I've seen for life.
Sherman,
Pay
take
to
him
win.
down. Take him down.
Uh-oh. What's that red dot on my forehead?
Of course, coming out of the augment rounds, Holy still on that loss streak, 40 gold in his bank, but it's pretty soon he's going to need to start reinvesting and getting a little bit more on that board, but he might just go out too fast.
I completely agree. Right now, all these boards does not look strong, and right now we moved on to My Paradise, actually going for Astral 3 stars.
Ooh.
Oh, this is a very, very rare composition. For those who don't know, this composition is a comp that usually uses 1-cost 3-star Astral units to save HP during your mid-game, and then you finish off by getting Lux 3 as your main like a DPS carry. Usually that's how the composition goes. So right now, My Paradise has a really good front line with Warmogs and Ionics on his Vladimir, and he is preparing the itemizations for Lux, but currently his HP is much lower than what this deck is currently supposed to be, and as you can see by his opponents, Astrals are also contested as well too. So since his itemizations are poor and he isn't really saved as much HP and economy as he should have, I don't know if My Paradise is in a good spot.
I think Lux itemization is one of my favorite topics because you talk to every player right now and they're just like, oh man, IEJG, what a waste of time. What an awful itemization. Then other players will be like, what would you go other than IEJG? You want to go like Archangels with no mana? What a nerd.
Well, I'm trying to remember who it was who was saying it, because it certainly wasn't me coming out of today.
Good start.
As I said, it's a big contest between, do we bring in a mana item to allow Lux to cast more often, or do we go pure damage to allow for her to actually kill the backline with any kind of regularity? I think the confounding factor put in there by the, I might be Frodan, I don't know who was talking about, was that if you've got a comp which is moving around and Lux could potentially miss, if you don't have mana items, she can basically do no damage in a round.
Well, also in this lobby, we have 2 players who are going for Mystic Heart. So Lux's damage is going to be even worse. It's great. If you don't have mana gen items, she can just one-shot people, not in a Mystic lobby.
I mean, we're currently looking at the new sport at the moment, and he is trying to go for a Deja Idus like a build-up, I think. He has a lot of HP, found an early Idus, so he's offered all these Shimmer skill itemizations that can allow him to get the extra econ. He's also offered Jace, but he sold it a bit early. I'm not really sure about that choice, because I feel like that Jace was better than that like Azak there with the Dragon Smash for sure, right?
So we were looking, of course we saw Darkest rocking this out most memorably in the EMEA regional finals and doing some pretty darn good work in the first couple of games. I expect we're looking for an Aurelion Soul later on. The only problem here for Newt is they do not have very much money. If they can't keep that win streak going, then they've got no cash to reach the late game at all.
That is completely correct as well, too. Newt it has gone for a Dragon Mancy spec, but he gave it to Zach, which can't kill anything. I'm not gonna lie. Zach will not be able to kill anything.
He'll heal.
He was offered.
He'll heal a lot.
He was offered much more better options to go for, and he skipped that. And wait, will he be able to win?
But Bebe, Zach is trying very hard, and I think we need to give him credit.
Okay.
All right, never mind. Take away the credit.
So that's what we were afraid of for Newt. They've lost their win streak. They do not have much gold in the bank. Of course, on any of these Shimmer Scale comps, they love to have a lot of gold.
I mean, just look at the board. It's much more better if he just uses Jace. He had Jace earlier. He sold one. It'd be much more better if he just used Jace. He's offered a very lucky Zoe early on. Of course, I don't know how.
Wow.
Wait, is that a attack speed Shimmer Skill item?
Yeah, it's a Gambler's Blade. So
wow.
Okay, so one hand takes away, another hand gives back. That's an amazing pickup for Newt. So we've got the item slamming onto the Jace. We're not going to be itemizing Zoe at all, but we do have the Guardian Shield on her.
Oh, no, no, no. He gave the Gambler's Blade to Jace, and he's putting Zoe in the front. No, no, no. Zoe in the back. Give the Gambler's Blade to Zoe. Give the Protector's like a smash to Zoe. No, someone else. That's the Protector's smash should be on Jace. The Golden Mancy Rod should be on Jace as well, too, and the Protector's smash should be on Jace. Not like this. No, no, no.
So, I mean, that's the risk you take. Yeah, that's exactly what you say. You put your Shimmer Scale items on your frontline units, and they can all go away so very quickly. Newt at least does have the HP to play with, though, so if they decide to mix up their strategy, they can adjust without going out of the game entirely.
Well, and I suspect that Zoe's just going to get chucked in the bin pretty quick as well. You've got great items there for either a Deja with the Mirage Duelist, or if you want to go later, look towards that hyper late game, go for the Aurelion Soul. He's got options.
Well, there we go.
All right, he swapped it out.
I mean, Newt is a Korean player, and I really, really do want to root for him, but this ain't it, this is not it. He should prepare his Jason in an AoE location where he can get most gold from these wolves. You can get gold from wolves if you can, so I'm disappointed.
All right, well, as we come to the wolves, and we have got... well, there we go, a little bit of gold in the bank.
Oh, nice.
It's worth taking note again of our players who have the most to gain from this lobby. I mean, pretty much everybody but Holy and Noel is on single digits points right now, so anybody who finishes in the top 2, top 3 is going to take a massive leap forward in the standings.
And now 4-1 is hit, so we're going to see a lot of our players rolling down. Still at the bottom of the board, Fly, Holy, and My Paradise, holding it up around 50 HP. My Paradise has hit the 3-star Skarner and the Lux, but she is dangerously short on items.
I mean, I'm really enjoying this composition right here. As you can look, of course, it's a bit sad that Lux does not have an extra mana item and an extra like a AP itemization, but there is a Maze Spat ready for Varus, and he also has Silas in his bench ready. This means that he can actually go for 5 mages, which is a huge power spike for these Lux mage compositions.
We'll see what Tex is up to here as well. Again, on our players, a player currently tied with Newt as not the top 2 players, but at least relatively close to it. He's doing a pretty decent job. We're also seeing our friend Olaf doing their best Yone impression and actually getting some pretty good results off of it.
Yeah. I mean, this is a result of the matchup difference. Lux is good at opponents that have still the non-moving backline carries, but the opponent here was like a melee warrior, so that is an unfortunate matchup.
Here come the final augments, and we'll see what comes out. My Paradise finding Protector of the Cosmos would give him a little bit beefier of a front line. And now it does look like that's what he's gone for across the lobby. We see Fly going for a Rage Wing augment, looking towards that late game Xayah composition. He did stick with it on that Swift Shot.
Of course, the Rage Ring, and the Xayah, definitely one of our Power 5 coming in today. We know it's a comp that, well, it isn't necessarily, the end game comp that destroys everything. It's still very, very good indeed. So let's pop across to Tex. As we were talking about them a little bit before, we have got ourselves an actual scale scorn comp coming in. So it's not a comp we see everywhere, but when it does show up, it can be pretty freaking terrifying.
And we can also notice that Tex Summer is actually preparing for a Xayah transition, I think. Is he going for Xayah or is he going to continue Warriors? He has 2 choices. He can go for a Xayah composition, and then he can try to use that like a Hecarim as a Rage Wing unit, or he can actually maybe continue to go for the Warrior route and go for like Olaf, like a 3-star to win the game as well too.
Yeah, I suppose looking at the augments, there's nothing necessarily tying them here. I suppose right now Olaf is doing a pretty darn good job, so it would seem a little ungrateful to throw him in the bin, but I suppose needs must. Protect someone again, they're looking to try and climb here. We do know that they generally tend to be a kind of more greedy, kind of fast 9 player, so this is a little outside of their comfort zone.
Going really well for them, though, and I think given how the early game went, they were having a little bit of a rough time after that RFC. Didn't seem to have a lot of direction, but found the Olaf early, stuck with it, got the stacks on, now has a really solid direction to go into the later stages, and Cybernetics are pretty good augments there for this composition that can have so many item holders.
I mean, currently I'm actually really curious to see Fly's board, the Chinese player. The last time I checked, he actually had a Shyvana. An 8 gold Shyvana on his board, and I think he was actually set up to go for like a pretty proper like a Rage Wing composition. So I really hope that we get a chance to look at him later on.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. The second, there we go.
Nice.
So exactly as you said, yeah, so as Matt pointed out, the Scorch is in the barrel there. We've got a 2-item Zaya ready to go. Nothing on the Shyvana as of yet, but still got Shapeshifter to keep her alive a little bit longer.
I mean, his front line is kind of poor, but he has an early Soraka. He's offered the option of an early bar as well, too. So he can actually get a bunch of 5-cost 2-stars viable at level 8 if he so chooses. So the only issue with Fly is that he doesn't really have a solid front line, but he has everything that he needs to make this composition work during the late game.
Well, a small note as well, of course, we've actually got the 4th Shapeshifter in there as well to try and reinforce the Shapeshifters, assuming they can get their transformations in. So it's an interesting approach. Certainly, though, they are towards the top of the table. In fact, in this lobby, and unlike a lot of other lobbies, we don't have an incredibly dominant player up at the top.
That is correct as well, too. I'm really surprised that that he didn't go for the Bard. I guess he values the HP value from Soraka instead because he feels that having a Zaya 2-star is just good enough to get like top 4. So he doesn't really need to gamble with units like Bard this early on into the game and just go for these flat HP value. Very curious about that choice.
All right, hopefully we'll get a chance to check in with my parents in a second. A quick word about one of the organs we did see sneak in, Protector of the Cosmos, a real throwback to when Scrap was in the game a little while ago, able to get yourself a big team-wide shield.
What I think is really interesting here is we can see that My Paradise does have an open spatula. There was a spat on Carousel, but instead of opting for that with the Tactician's Crown, they went for the tier to complete a Mage spat instead.
Wait. Is this an Aoshin Dragonmancy with 40 gold at stage 4?
Do your eyes deceive you?
He has double Zeeks and he's so rich he has a Rabadon's on Itis. What is this?
I'm sure that shop with 4 Olafs would make life's bad green with envy as well. Just like, oh, all of the Olafs I've needed all game.
Wait, he sold it.
He sold it and he changed it across to Radiant Souls.
I like that.
I mean, when you've got this much money, you can afford to be a little bit picky. We'll see how well we can see things going for Kizza. Currently the lowest performing player who's in this current lobby really needs a win here, but has to deal with a whole bunch of black hole madness.
Wait, I'm not really sure. Was the Ace Soul better or was the Aoshin better? Because with Dragonmancy, I think Aoshin would have enough damage to one shot, and
I still think it's going to be the Ace Soul because Aoshin takes so damn long to ult. If you don't have the strongest front lane in the game, if nobody has backline access, if all of those conditions are met, sure, Aoshin's great. But a lot of the games, you're going to have someone ripping into that backline, a Deja perhaps. Maybe you're going to run into a Rengar composition. A lot of things will threaten the Aoshin, whereas Aesol will actually get a cast off.
Wait, what is that mini screen with a bunch of dragons? What is that?
That's lobby 1 where everyone's messing around, and apparently we're going to get an answer to your question.
Is that another 6 dragon player?
No, it couldn't
How
be.
many 6 dragon players in this game?
Baby,
Oh, man.
do you want to know how many?
How many?
6.
Okay. all right.
For your
all
trick.
right. All right.
Never answer
Anyways,
the question. Never answer
if
the
we
question.
were to go back to the game, I really think it's up for discussion. A Aoshin versus Aesol. I'm pretty sure every viewer right now is like, it's like half-half. Aesol's better, like Aoshin's better. I'm pretty sure it's very debatable.
Well, I mean, we'll see as we go on. I mean, I have to imagine if there comes a situation where Holly is able to bring in a 2-star variation of either, they'd be very happy to switch things across.
Holly just doesn't even need to play the game at this point.
Wow.
Wait, is he literally AFK? No.
Yeah, grabbing some water, don't worry about it. Look, if you had an Aesol with these items, with that Itis frontline, with that itemized Braum, you wouldn't need to do anything either.
Well, bear in mind, you've got pay to win, which does require active use in the game.
Fair point, fair point.
Okay, we're back to My Paradise's board, and oh, he has 2 maze spats. He's looking for his final items. He's rolling down for that Lux item because he does not have any mana itemizations on Lux, and he needs 1 more damage itemization for Lux to be a proper carry. Other than that, he has 2 Dragon Claws and a Warmog, so that's decent frontline. His units are 3 stars, so they will buy him a lot of time. His economy is just enough for him to hit level 8 and go for 7 mages. Wow.
Yeah, well, we talked about the whole thing between do you go full damage, do you go, the mana items. Presumably, if you've got Mage 7, the question is answered by you want to have as much damage as possible. But let's check across with what Tech Summers is up to.
Selling a Yasuo, apparently. Had one on the board, instead opted for the Pantheon for the Double Whisper, which I think is the right decision, gives you a lot of extra shred, and he is still 2 each away from both Diana and Olaf.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Not with a lot of money to spend either. This is such a tense situation for a player to be in. Do you hold tight and hope that they come through the shop, or do you spend your last remaining gold and hope that you high roll?
Meanwhile, Kezi here. Is Kezi the right pronunciation?
Kutza.
Kutza here.
Yeah.
Right now going for a Deja Itis composition. This is a very solid composition that you can get at level 8. The reason why he chose this comp is because he wasn't win streaking to a point where he could go for level 9 and go for Ace or Elshin, but he was right in the middle. He won, lost, won, lost. So his economy was a bit awkward, so he settled for a very cheap mid-game, a late-game like composition, which is 4 cost 2-star carries.
Yeah, doing pretty darn well. Olaf, with the 3 items here for Tex, he's going very low, but I don't think with the power of Deja stacking up. Of course, we've seen Deja really starting to rise to prominence in the competition. Last time we saw 1st and 2nd on stream being taken. And of course, we're back in Goldmaster territory again, so we know AP is all the business.
Poli rolls down, does not find a 2-star there, levels up, waiting for those odds to increase. He's got a Bard on the board to do it, and a Shyvana in the pocket as well.
Wait, I'm really curious. Isn't this level a bit early? Is it because he had no HP? The reason why I thought the level up was a bit early was because if you use your gold, you lose that AP value now. And I guess in this case, if he doesn't use his gold, there's a chance he might die with 80 gold as well too. So this was actually really awkward for Holly to do. It's a very difficult situation for sure.
Yeah, and of course, again, Holly is the top scoring player in this lobby, so everybody's looking to see if they can get knocked out in 8th to open up the field of competition. We do see Zippy in the corner doing an incredible job of punishing these backline carries. That's got to have consequences going forward for the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, unfortunately for Holy, the same thing happened to his Asol that would have happened to the Ao Shin, targeted in the backline by that Zippy and ripped to shreds.
I mean, this is just a good example. These players that were on the top will not always get top. We have 10 games in total, and we might to see a very huge change in placements.
All right, we've got some upgrades coming from My Paradise, who's one of those players who's hoping that their situation will change. Currently on 6 points, the Protector of the Cosmos shield will be huge, and we've got a 3-item Lux, but we've got a few players here who are trying to hold on, including another top performer, Tech Summers, very close to joining the very quick exit.
I mean, we can see our favorite TFT moment, 8 Olafs. 8 Olafs for life with 9 HP, folks. I'm pretty sure everybody can appreciate it.
Some people say it's Starry Night. Some people say it's another famous painting, because I blanked the moment I started that comparison. But I think the most classical artistic moment is 8 Olafs and just missing out.
Oh
with
no, and is he gonna die
I
with
think
8
unfortunately
Olafs?
Come on, Olaf, you can do it.
Oh.
No, you really can't.
Mona Lisa, that's the one.
Oh, I thought that's where you're going. Okay, so as the Mona Lisa burns in a fire as in the last
There we
fast
go.
fight, we've got Holy and Tech Summers, 2 out of the 3 top performing players, getting it taken down very early into lobby. I think we are starting to see the table flip moment that so many of our players really needed.
And look at how close the HP totals are as well. Newt, yeah, having a bad time there at 9 HP, but across the rest of the board, there's this huge cluster between 21 and 33 HP where anything could happen.
I mean, this game just means that nobody was one-sidedly ahead from the beginning. This means that everybody had a good chance to build into composition that was very strong during the mid-game, and I guess that's just where the difference continued.
All right, so Noel, of course, one of the players. Oh, rather, the last remaining player who came into this lobby with a good amount of points is on a win streak. We've only got Vi or YGQF as they're known in this game.
That's a hell of a pivot right there.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Era and everything's at the ready.
All right, we got Guardians, we got Dragons, we got a pretty heavy hitting composition.
A lot of one-star dragons, though, which is going to be concerning here for Newt. Thieves Glove's going to pop on that Terra. Double Shroud going to go a little bit wide against his composition.
I mean, the reason why he has a bunch of one-star dragons is because he's not really supposed to go for a dragon composition because, look, he's level 8. I mean, he had the shiver skills to get the bonus, but he didn't really have enough cool. So I feel like what the Chinese player did by going for the like a Deja like a pivot was actually a bit more better if he is going to go for like level 8 all in.
It's very unfortunate as well to come across Noel and allow their win streak to remain intact. Definitely casting a shadow across the rest of the lobby, as it will, because next up on the chopping block.
Vertical Mirage is going to do a lot for that Deja's damage, but we can see the economy is in a sour state. No gold left to roll with, only 2-star carries, and nothing left to expand with.
It was Gazi.
It's like it's like you say cousin, but like a little bit wrong.
Gazi. This is the board that you should have been aiming for. This is the board that you can complete at level 8 that is fairly strong. That's why Gazi was able to get like
we get that.
versus like getting a 6. I feel like that was a very core difference, and that just highlights how good Gazi did in this game in total.
We have been mentioning in passing a little bit of Xayah action coming to our screens, and we will be seeing it here from Fly. Has a very aggressively itemized Xayah who is tearing through just to survive that last bit of damage, but can't quite do it. This could be the day of the Deja.
Yeah, and here's the problem with Xayah. I've been pointing it out for a long time, railing against the bird. I want her out of here. The problem she's going to have, if you don't have a strong enough front line, she really sucks as a carry. She cannot kill tanks quickly. She relies on that AoE spread of feathers and then using her ultimate, the pull, in order to get kills on the board. Here's the thing. There's a set timer for that, and if that timer doesn't go off, you lose 90% of your damage.
I mean, it seems this game we're going to see a clean battle between the 4 costs. We got the Graves, Seraphine composition at the ready. It's going to go against the Deja Itis composition, which is actually quite rare to see because this is a lobby where most of the 5 costs, like high costs, like the Dragon comps, actually all failed and died off before they could find their carries.
I mean, it's absolutely astonishing how different these lobbies can be. We are receiving word that we have got 6 dragons turning up in our other lobbies as well.
What is with this tournament, man?
It's all about the high rolls. I mean, as we look at our economy here, we can see which players can high roll. Life is bad. He's doing a fantastic job of keeping their economy afloat when nobody else has. We can see in our corner there, just a big pile of dragons.
Yeah, Shunga had a great start to the game as well, or the day rather. He's going to be continuing that with that 6 dragon board. Meanwhile, back in our game, My Paradise now at 13 HP, desperately trying to stay alive and keep that top 4 spot.
I mean, I have to note that it's actually really amazing that My Paradise didn't get bot 4 here because his start wasn't really that good for an actual composition, and he actually ecoed well enough to hit all the way to level 9. I'm really surprised that he had enough economy to hit level 9 for sure.
Well, I do like as well, we've got the initial shield of the Protector of the Cosmos, but we've also got the Hextech Gunblade follow-up heal to keep that Lux alive. Actually, getting attacked by Zippy a couple of times, but surviving it, and also surviving the danger hit long enough to get the cast in and get the round down.
Really well done there, and hanging on by a thread, just like everyone else in this lobby. 22 HP is the max, 10's the minimum. This is still anyone's game.
And then, well, I want to kind of throw us back to our previous lobby, of course. We saw everyone fighting over Mystic and kind of falling over themselves. In this case here, for Noel's site up here, we've got 4 Mystic in the mix after picking up that early augment.
Right now, I'm really interested to see how Noel will fight against actually My Paradise. He has a 50% chance to fight against My Paradise or YGQF, but right now, we'll see exactly how well he can do with the Grace Comp in the late game.
And Kurtz's board here, surviving for so long, running into My Paradise. Whoever loses this one is going to get taken out. Watch the Deja, watch the Lux. That matchup decides the fight. And there goes Lux with her first ultimate, but Deja just tearing through the board of My Paradise despite the shields. They're starting to go down the duelist dexterity, stacking up, but Deja could survive one more hit, and Lux finds the snipe, securing the win for My Paradise and knocking down Noel and Kutza into that 4th and 5th spot, respectively.
I think that's Silver and Blue Battery doing a great job there of filling in for the mana item. But yeah,
really pulling more than its weight.
I suppose that's the thing. Baby, we were talking about this before. We've got the big change between do you have a mobile carry, do you have an immobile carry? But I suppose we'll have to come back to in a second. We're checking in with Fly. We are seeing the upgrades. We've got Shyvana, a huge presence on the front line. And we're down to our final 4. Let's see what they've got for us.
Now, the positioning is going to be really important. They got to make sure the Deja and the Xayah is away from the Lux. That's how they win the fight. So every player needs to focus well. Oh, it seems Lifespan get countered. What with the other one? Nice, great positioning from YGQF right there to make sure that his Xayah is actually targeted last. You can see the Twitch on the right side, Bard on the left side, so that it is a guaranteed chance of surviving. It's just an issue of him having enough stats to beat the 3-star actual composition or not.
Well, I mean, this is exactly the problem we were talking about before. If you don't get the kill with the first cast, then you may not get too many more. Xayah does just enough damage. And as you say, baby, it's all about the positioning, and it gets a big win.
I mean, it's really great to see the finals of this a round being decided by whether or not these players can counter position each other really well. It's actually a lot of skill aspect to see in the game for sure.
All right, we will be finding ourselves, of course, what else? This is how we get 6 dragons in this game, baby. We just throw them all on carousel.
I do want to say here, this is where Fly exceeds. The final rounds of every single game of TOC4 were decided by incredibly tight micro. Expect him to be doing absolutely everything he can to outposition his opponents.
Well, of course, we can see from our scoreboard, we've got players who are so close. We know that every point is going to matter here. We need to get into the top 2. A difference of 1 placement here could be everything.
I really want Lifespan to counter position the Xayah to a point where Deja can actually focus Xayah with his ultimate or maybe an early auto attack, and depending on how it goes, we'll see.
Oh, middle of the pack. It depends on where the Deja first wave goes. Looks like pretty on path here as the Shyvana dives down into the backline. Bard ult on top. Deja's in trouble, but Xayah is already down. Deja ripping through the backline with the help of Zippy. Will secure Life is Bad the round win.
What's going on? My Paradise Sport, this might decide the fight. Zippy's not enough.
Hey, man, Zippy's doing his best. Give him a shot. All right, never mind, you're right.
He's trying his hardest, but he's like a friendly puppy. Just wants to go and say hello to everybody again and again and again. But it does put us down to our top 2. My Paradise doing a very good job. 6 points, an 8th and a 4th before this point. Now guaranteed at least top 2.
Baby, what does this last round come down to?
Now, this round is going to be all about positioning. If Lifespan positions just like Fly did, just like our Chinese player did, and put his Deja in the middle, then there is no case scenario where his Deja will die before it gets value. So we'll see if that's going to work appropriately.
All right, so we'll keep our eyes closely on where that Lux ends up hitting. We have, of course, got to take account of Zippy's interference. We'll be running interference from the front line, but we see opposite starts. So Lux going to be firing across into the opposite corner. The clumped up units will be taking the Wind Blast right to the face. The timing on the ult is so good from the Bard to amp up the damage. Zippy working on the corner isn't quite where he needs to be.
Deja's missing though.
Yeah, the most of the board is still staying alive, and Life will have to settle for second. Paradise finds their way to first.